Hello and welcome to this channel. Thank you very much for clicking on the thumbnail that says divorced, pushing 60, what now? Really good question. Opportunity for further discussion with this channel. I need to let you know that my name is Mundy and two other things. I blink a lot. I do apologise, but I can't help it. I did go to the doctor who has prescribed some drops, but he says it's to do with menopause, which is, really helpful. Not. The second thing is, with my colour coordinated mug, ta-da, I'm having a cup of tea. I would actually prefer it if it was a glass of wine, but we don't know each other well enough yet, so a cup of tea will have to do. So, let's get started. So, I'd like to talk about divorce. I got married at 23. I was a babe in the woods, a spring chicken. I had rose-coloured glasses on. I never thought in a million years that divorce would happen to me, that the ex and I would ever get divorced. I was married for 30 years. It's a long time, 3 decades. An awful lot of stuff happens to you in 3 decades, but I did enter the marriage with long-term, till death do us part, in mind when, we literally signed on the dotted line, as you do, for your marriage certificate, and exchanged rings and all of that. I got married at 23, and really, I think 23 is a bit too young. I mean, I do know that people do manage to survive until death do them part when they get married very young. But really and truly, I think, for me anyway, 23 was too young. I didn't really know who I was. Actually, to be honest, at 58, I'm still not completely sure that I know who I am. But certainly at 23, my worldview, my ideas about life, the universe, politics, now there's a can of worms, had not been fully formed. Although I don't know whether you ever get fully formed, you do grow. The idea is to grow in the same direction and grow together. Yes, that didn't quite happen, did it? No, especially with a few curveballs and yeah. Anyway, that was my first thought. I think 23 is far too young to get married. I wish it was wine. Anyway, the next thing I'd like to say about being married / divorce is when you get married, certainly as a person of faith to another person of faith, the idea is that makes you equally yoked, that you have the same worldview, I guess, you have the same belief system, but actually that's not really enough either. Certainly towards the end of our marriage, I found my ex and myself on quite different pages of the political spectrum. And that made for some very interesting times, especially now when, we live in a political world. Actually, we probably always have lived in a political world, but it's even more so now. What's happening in America with Trump and MAGA and all the things, it's really unavoidable now. And I will say that I'm not of that persuasion. My ex would probably call me a lefty, which is okay, but personally, and of course this is my opinion and you are entitled to yours, I am of the persuasion that perhaps the government should step in with healthcare and schooling and housing. Just saying. But anyway, I will say that we were not equally aligned when it came to political things, and that really did, especially toward the end, drive quite a wedge into the marriage. I've been joined on the sofa by my beautiful greyhound. Her name is Caper. She is a rescue greyhound, and she's also, like her mother, a middle-aged woman, which does mean that both of us get up in the middle of the night quite often. Just saying. But anyway, she's very sweet and very good company, and yes, you'll see her a lot as we progress along with this channel. The next thing I'd like to talk about is something that I'm never going to do again, and that is change my name. Now, when the ex and I split, it was in the middle of Melbourne's lockdown, which was not the best of times to do anything. It was incredibly difficult. And I will say that trying to navigate changing one's name and getting divorced, and I will say that is the idiotic way that I did it. I changed my name first and then we got a divorce, but that wasn't the reason for the divorce. We'd already separated by this stage, and I got it in my head that I really wanted to change my name. I won't go into the full details of the reason why, except just to say that it was incredibly difficult. And yes, I will say that government websites are the most difficult websites to navigate. The user experience is pretty awful, and I could rant and rave, but I won't. However, I did decide that when I finally got my official documentation to say that my name had officially changed, I decided that I was never going to go through that hell ever again. I thought to myself that if I remained separated, divorced, single, widowed, or remarry, the name that I have now is the name that I'm going to die with. I'm never going to go through that again. Especially because, well, not only is it hard to navigate, the official things, but then even once you've got the documentation to say that yes, you are now from this to this, you have to do it to all the other things, all the bills, the superannuation, the banks, the myriad of things, as well as the expensive things like the driver's license and the passport. So that's one thing that now that I am the person who I am, and I am now officially divorced, even if I manage to, if I ever get married again, I'm not totally sure about that, but you never can tell. I am still only in my I'm not, I'm in the early afternoon of my years. Yeah, we ain't doing that again, just saying. And now it brings me to the end of this first little introduction to myself. I've spoken about the divorce, I've spoken about something that I'm never going to do again, and now it's what happens now. That is a particularly good question. I don't know. Do feel free to comment down below if you know what happens next. I am thinking that this channel could be an opportunity for, discussion, but keep it nice. And also, I would like to potentially show you other parts of my life. I would like to, talk more about the dog and my life here in Melbourne. Actually, I'd really like to show you Melbourne. Melbourne is just the most delightful city. It has, for many years, been in either the top or the top 3 most livable cities in the world. And it would just be lovely to show you around and to show you my experience as a middle-aged woman, a single middle-aged woman, meandering the streets of Melbourne. But anyway, thank you very much for joining me today. Please like, share, subscribe, all of those things, and hopefully we'll see each other again soon. Next time I might even have a glass of wine. See ya. Bye.